Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the topic of how to perform under pressure. My name is Mukesh Sharma, and you're watching U Talks. So last time we talked about that, what is the nature of pressure, the stress and differences. We also talked about the anatomy of choking, and we also talked about in the episode number 6 that how the pressure affects our thinking. And in this topic, in this chapter, we are going to talk about the pressure traps. Very interesting topic. I really like a lot of information in this topic, but I'll try to simplify. It starts with a very good example of in 2003 when Tiger Woods and Ernie Els were playing the golf match as a I think the Prudential Cup, the President's Cup in 2003. And they talk about that when they went into the last tiebreaker rounds, they felt so much of intense pressure that the match went into the tiebreaker. And then the referee said that would you want to go for a draw? And those are the two best players of those times, and they accepted the draw. And the reason was that they felt so much intensely pressurized by the situation that they accepted to draw the situation. So which means that there are many pressure traps which you concede to. And then it also talks that when you feel more pressure than they had ever felt before, simply because of the pressure of the teammates, because they were playing in the team. So the team who are supporting them, they start also putting pressure of cheer on. If someone starts cheering you in the ground, then while you may feel positively motivated, but also you start feeling the pressure that you cannot go wrong. The book also talks about that increasing pressure and making it more difficult to perform close to your best. And pressure traps have 3 noteworthy characteristics, very important. First, they are omnipresent. They can be found in places of work, at school, on a date or in a sports we play. Sometimes they trap us in a pressure moment. Other times we are caught before we enter the pressure moment, and usually we don't even know it. Second, it talks about that they're very well concealed. So these kind of pressures actually come in the form of motivation and support. Sometimes when we tell our kids that I'm going to support you completely and you should go after this grade or you should go after this great college and we completely support you, you can do it. Even these things actually start putting a concealed kind of a pressure. It's also pressure trap to your kid. So you have to be very, very well aware of this. Third, pressure traps are very dangerous. Getting caught by one will likely derail us in most important moments. They can also, if you're not careful, it becomes more integrated into our daily routine and they lead to pressure anxiety, perpetually feeling that you have to produce and continually questioning whether you can. So these could be also very dangerous as well. So 3 important things: they're omnipresent. Second is that they're well concealed. They don't just come as a direct pressure, indirect as well. And third is that they could be very dangerous because they can really derail you. And then what are the setting of the traps? What are the different kind of traps? One is the support trap. Even when we get support of the people, you also are actually creating a trap for yourself, because in those situations you become so self-focused. For example, if you're playing a match and if your parents, your friends have come to watch it, then the moment you see that they are cheering you, they're watching you, you start feeling that how you're going to perform, how they're thinking about you, how you're playing, and somehow you become too much of self-focus rather than the task focus. And in that case, you start probably missing the shots, you start probably missing few timelines. And so that is the support trap. And then what happens, what the book talks about is something which you have been doing so well over the period of time. Let's say you are playing a piano or you are a drummer. Now you know that you're playing in an auditorium and you have your, let's say, boss or maybe your supporter or your parents or your friends in the auditorium, and you start feeling conscious. Subconsciously you start feeling conscious, and your your procedural memory starts malfunctioning, and that's what starts derailing you from the performance. So it's the hardwiring of us in prehistoric times to be accepted, to be well accepted by people around us, and not to be abandoned. These kind of feelings are hardwired into us as a human being. So the moment we go into any situation where we are looking at a situation, whether how they're feeling about it, how they're feeling about us, that situation starts making to derail us. So being accepted by the group gives you an evolutionary advantage, but sometimes it also affects you. Now, what it also talks about is that a supportive audience can increase your performance, but if you become too self-focused, too self-conscious, it can also decrease your performance. Now, the next point I would talk is the incentive trap. The incentive trap is in most of the organizations, people say that, hey, if you can achieve this sales goal, you will get this much of money. If you can achieve this goal, you will achieve this promotion. Or if you can do this, you will get this. So these kind of incentive traps are there, which generally all the organizations feel that probably they're going to motivate people, but actually it demotivates and puts additional pressure also. And the reasons are many. They say that when an executive feels and thinks that he or she needs an incentive to survive, it is not surprising that he or she will do what it takes to get it. The students who feel they need an A to survive are more appropriate to cheat. So it also says that if you need something for survival, the motivation or incentive behaves differently. But if you feel that it is only a need as an additional more than your survival, then it starts putting more pressure. So I think that is the way it talks about. And then the next thing is say that you also have to distinguish between, do you tell yourself you need or you want them? So the book talks about that multiple psychologists' perspective and studies strongly suggest that those individuals who believe I need / must have, this may achieve their incentives but transform their world into a pressure cooker. So you have to clearly distinguish and reflect on your needs or your wants. And that's what need to and versus want to makes a big difference. It also talks about if you are talking to your team, if you are telling them you need to do this, or if you tell them you may like or you may want to do this, it will have a different impact on their own feeling. If you tell them you need to increase your pipeline, if you tell them you need to increase your sales, if you tell your student or your kid that you need to score a grade A, then he will feel a different pressure. Rather, if you tell him you may want to score a, you may want to do better in the exam because probably you can do it, it will make a different impact, because then your subconscious feeling, your subconscious thinking behaves differently. Your cognitive appraisal of the situation will be different. It will not cognitively distort you. So all those things important, very, very important in the fact. So one was the support trap, second is the incentive trap, and third, which is very important, is the competition trap. This is a very natural thing. Probably we'll talk in the competition trap in a more detailed way. But what it says is that whenever we see our peers, our friends, or maybe competitors doing well, we start feeling the pressure. So it says that it can really derail you, because they say, and the book talks about very clearly, it's called the ranking mindset or excellence mindset. So it talks very clearly that one of the consequences of the habituating a ranking mindset is that it causes greater physical arousal in our bodies, because the ranking mind keeps you on edge. You always have to be ready for the fight, always ready to beat your competition. So now, sometimes it starts putting more pressure. The moment we observe our competitors, it starts putting more pressure on you. So it says that a ranking mindset that focuses on win at any cost behavior can have another unhappy side effects. It encourages people to cut ethical corners, to cheat, or even try very hard to beat your competition. Rather, it says that there are several steps in which you can avoid going into the competition trap. And very important for people like us in the real life nowadays, that first, you need to remember that you need to frame the competition as a way to become better, not as a way to prove something to someone. And the second thing it says that practice relaxation. Competitive people are more easily aroused than those who are less competitive. Therefore, you have to practice relaxation, because you know that you will be aroused by someone else's behavior who is competing against you. Third, it says that competition is hardwired into us, and it is not a bad thing at all. But when it is framed in a proper way, competition is a powerful motivational fuel that can help us. So one important thing which probably we can learn is that use competition to become better and excellent in those parts. I think we'll talk about this topic probably more detail. And the pressure traps is a very, very important phenomena: support, incentive, and the competition trap. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you again. Thank you very much.